Pixar, you. Welcome back to another video of Everything Movies. I am Jefferson Cole, and today I will be reviewing Elio. Before we move on, please drop a like on this video as it helps the channel a tremendous amount and it gives YouTube an idea on where and who to push these videos to. Thank you.
It is estimated that over 4 million people have been abducted by alien life forms. But only one of them asked for it.
Come and get me. It's really happening.
On June,
Elio has 3 different directors, and they are Adrian Molina, Madeline Sharafian, and Domi Shi. I rarely watch movies or know of movies that have 3 different directors. Besides recently Moana 2. I don't necessarily like that many directors on one project, but for this movie they did pretty decent. You know, it seemed like they might have had a really good team and they might have all worked really well together. And then there's also 3 different writers. You know, that's even crazier, and none of them are the same as the directors. It's like I'm looking at this right now and it's very much surprising to me, like all these different people came together to make this story. And wow, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I like to think that it usually takes 1 or 2 people to make a really good project, but clearly I might not, clearly I might be wrong about that, because this movie was really well put together. And it stars Yonas, Kibreab, Zoe Saldana, and Remy Eggerly. Yep. Jonas is the main character. He plays Elio. Zoe Saldana is the I want to say the auntie. Yeah, I think she was the auntie. She played Olga, and then Remy played Glorden, which was Elio's friend. This movie primarily is about a boy. He is an orphan. He's being raised by his aunt, and he has this obsession over aliens. He believes that they are real, he believes that they are out there, and he wants to get abducted by the aliens so he could escape Earth, basically. He feels like no one on Earth understands him, no one really wants to have him or just wants him there. So that's what he believes as a kid. He believes that he's all alone, and I get it. I really do get that. I think a lot of kids feel that way growing up, and at his age he was in middle school. I think he was a 7th grader in this movie, or 6th grader. I think they say he was 13, so he had to be a 7th grader. And usually around that age they do feel pretty much isolated and having those feelings of loneliness. And this movie leaned heavily into him wanting to escape somewhere that he thought would be much better. That was a very much relatable movie, especially for kids, and I think for adults as well. I think that feeling of loneliness, if you are still struggling with it, and you obviously as you get older you learn more ways to avoid those feelings, but as a kid you really don't know how. And so we get to watch Elio go through these emotions and feeling like that he's just an outcast, when deep down I'm as an adult watching it, I'm no, he basically just made friends in the first 30-ish minutes of the movie. I would say maybe 15 minutes. He had the potential to make a friend on Earth, but that friend, obviously they're all kids, that friend had another friend that was kind of mean and they all got into it and stuff. So it's just you understand that they all are trying to overcompensate for each other and trying to be cool, or be, some of them, Elio's strictly himself, but he just doesn't feel like no one else understands him. But when a new kid comes around and is interested in the same things, Elio, being so deep in his own feelings of loneliness, doesn't realize that this dude could be a potential friend. He's so overly focused on trying to find aliens and trying to not be alone. Ultimately he's trying to find a new family, a new species to really be with. And then eventually he does get abducted by aliens. He does find out that they are real, and he's super happy, and he goes out into space and goes on this adventure. And then throughout this adventure, he, you know, kind of like forgets his life on Earth, and like he's a kid, so he's like, man, I don't want to go back. I'm on this adventure. I'm trying to help my alien friends. They accepted me for who I am. They don't look at me strangely. They don't look at me as weird. In fact, they think that I'm the leader of Earth because he told them that he was the leader of Earth. And so he goes, and there's problems that arise and all types of things. But there's a lot that goes on in this movie, but it's very easy to follow because it's a kid's movie at the end of the day. I did watch this movie like a few days ago, so it is not as fresh on my mind, but I do remember a lot of the loneliness aspect of this film and the theme of that story, and how Elio had to learn that he is actually in fact loved on Earth. Like, his aunt loves him dearly, and there's a whole aspect of once he's gone outer space, there's like a copy version of him that stays there, and there's a moment where he's like, he sees that copy version of him living in his life on Earth, and that further pushes his idea that he's not even wanted on Earth because the copy version is making everyone else happy. And so I really like the journey that this movie took when explaining his emotions. He goes from being in the beginning where he's like, I'm okay with who I am, but deep down he's like not okay with who he is because he believes that no one really loves him. But then he goes on this adventure and realizes that he has to fix some problems that he causes while he's in space. And then he realizes that, no, like, people really do want him as a person. They want his personality. They want his goofiness, his obsession with aliens. They want everything about him, and they want him around. Going from that to the end, and it's just like, man, like, he learned a lot, and even his aunt learned a lesson. The aliens learn lessons. You know, it's just one of those movies where everybody's learning lessons. Pixar is really good at that. They're good at telling emotional, heartfelt stories. I don't feel like this was the most emotional Pixar movie. Maybe because I don't know, like, I could relate to the boy. In fact, this boy reminded me a lot of a student in my classroom from last year, but like a lot of him also reminded me, not the student, but a lot of Elio also reminded me of myself when I was around that age. I mean, going through a loss in your family and feeling like no one really understands. Like, I get it, you know. I didn't necessarily feel like this was the most emotional Pixar movie because I usually go to Pixar movies for the emotional damage. But this one didn't really get me that more. I was more focused on like, dang, this is a deep story, and I'm glad they're telling it, and I'm glad that they have it in a kids movie, because I know there will be a kid out there that will watch this and be like, wow, that's me. Like, that's literally me, and I get everything about Elio, and there's a kid that will really appreciate this film because the ending of the film makes him realize like it's okay to be himself, and then also he is loved, and there are people out there in the world that want him. Overall, this wasn't my favorite Pixar movie. I personally will take like Luca over this, or what's another good, Inside Out 2 over this as well. But overall, I think this was a great movie. It was a 7 out of 10 for me, and I think that you should definitely go see it if you have kids, or you're part of a family, or maybe just a Disney Pixar fan. That'll be all for this video. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe if you have seen this movie. It hasn't had much promotion, so I'm letting you all know it is out in theaters now, and it is really pretty good, you know. So go watch this movie as soon as you get the chance. And that'll be all for this video. Thank you.